We're all motivated differently by different people or different things, and when you find that, whether it's inside yourself or part of someone else, it just drives you. You guys know what I'm talking about? I mean, shake your head. I'm looking at every one of you. Dee, I can see your face. I mean, all of you. And it's so exciting that I'm standing here doing this. I have this book coming out, and I can't thank him enough, because every time you go through an ebb and a flow and something brings you back, you know what I mean? You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, and something reels you back in, and he has been that for me. My father passed away right before my older son was born, and I met Dr. Jacks right after that, and he's really been like that father figure, that rock of solidarity for me for so many years, and I can't thank you enough for that, you know, and it's amazing. It drives me and gives me the passion. But what we're talking about is motivation with yourself and with your clients. And as a wellness coach, you know, when we move past the aesthetic reasons of why we work out, there's so much more to it as we get into being a wellness coach. We want to look inside of our clients and figure out what motivates them to be motivated. And the thing is that everybody's motivated differently, okay? So I've got a scale. How many of you initially meet clients and that's their motivation? Raise your hand. Okay, perfect, there we go. That is a big motivator, and it's not really the one that we want them focusing on, is it? No. And it's up to us, not just as personal trainers, but as wellness coaches, to remove that component and go deeper. So Lance Armstrong, we all know, this man is a motivator in his own right, just by virtue of what he's overcome with cancer, not to mention his athleticism. And then my other little picture here is the extreme sport concept. So we have like Nikki, where is she sitting? I mean, we were talking last night. I mean, you know, and I said, well, you hate golf. And she said, well, it's not like I hate golf. It's just I'm not that good at it. So for her motivation is, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do good, I'm going to win, I'm going to win. And if she doesn't, then she doesn't like it. I don't like it. So that's a motivator too as well. Now, some motivation is not good. You guys know who this is? That's the guy from The Simpsons with the paddles? Okay. It's like, my husband knew who that was, but then one of my friends, who's like 10 years younger than me, was like, who's that? So I was like, well, I thought it was funny. But with the scale though, the scale's kind of like a bad motivator, right? Right? But something inside of you, which is intrinsic, is a good motivator, right? So I look at the scale as this little paddle. You gotta move past that. Okay, so I have 10 things that I'm going to cover today, and I know that we've got a lot of speakers, so I'm going to try to go quickly, but I will be able to, you know, give you guys notes and things like that since we don't have as much time as maybe my presentation should allow. No, sorry about that. I over-prepare sometimes. But, okay, so I don't know what these people are doing. But it was pretty motivating when I saw the picture. So I bet Dee Dee could do. Dee Dee, can you do this? At least part of it? Yeah. Okay. So maybe you and Mary, we can all try to work on that later. Okay. So my number one is what motivates you to be motivated. Okay? So what is that? Think about that right now. Something popped into your mind. Stephanie, what popped into your mind? What motivates you to be motivated? Soldiers. Awesome. Okay. Great. So Sarah, what motivates you to be your granola? Because it motivated me yesterday. So everything, just kind of jot those things down before I change the slide. I'm going to just briefly go through these. What motivates you to be motivated? You have to find it within inside of yourself. Something that drives you, something that directs you, something that empowers you. And I'm going to keep going back to you, because that's where it starts. You cannot expect your clients to be motivated unless you know how to motivate yourself first. Okay? Setting goals toward finding motivation. I could talk about this one for a really, really, really long time, but what I want you to walk away from here with this is SMART, okay? Write this down. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. SMART goals. That means knowing in yourself first, obviously, how to set these goals, and then being able to teach your clients how to set goals that are achievable. Meeting with them on the first time as a wellness coach and trainer, you cannot have a goal set to lose 30 pounds. That is not a realistic goal to set for them day one. Getting up out of bed every morning and doing 5 push-ups on their knees because you taught them how to do a modified push-up, and you're going to hold them accountable for getting out of bed in the morning. That is a very specific, measurable, attainable, realistic time-bound goal that you can monitor and help with. You can motivate them to achieve that goal. This is one of the most important components of motivating and driving your clients. Because if they can't set a goal that they can achieve, they will fail, they will become demotivated, and they will look at you because it's going to be your fault. So you can turn that around and you can fix it. Does that make sense to you? What I do with my clients is I set about 5 of these SMART goals. And yeah, 30 pounds is a great goal. But what happens is I set like 5 of these little goals, and every month we work on those and we achieve those goals. And the next thing you know, after all these little pockets of goals have been achieved, that big one has achieved itself. Does that make sense? So if you're the kind of person that hops out of bed every morning and gets down on the floor and does 30 push-ups, I bet you that 30 pounds is coming off. Yeah? Yeah. All right, this next one I feel is one of the most important ones too. I think they're all really important, or I probably wouldn't even be talking about them. The difference between intrinsic and extrinsic. Now, this part is interesting, and I could probably talk about this for hours. It's a big part of what my book's about, but have any of you heard of Maslow's theory? Okay, right, of self-actualization. Now, there's a lot of research out there that says that people cannot be taught to be intrinsically motivated, but I disagree. I've been researching this for practically 20 years now, and I disagree. You've got like companies called Successories that have these great motivational posters and things, and every one of you in this room is a motivator in your right, or you wouldn't be here right now. There's companies out there, and I don't know who these people are, but they're full of propaganda, and they have a company called Demotivators, and they make fun of motivation. And they say that you can't be taught that. Well, you can. You can be taught that. Maslow's got 5 steps. And in order to get to that place where you're self-actualized, if you will, where you can actually be intrinsically motivated, you have to go through these 5 steps. And again, I don't have a lot of time to go through it, but I do have the notes. But there's some very basic ones like food, a place to live, love, relationships, having safety, having self-respect, having other people respect you, desiring strength, achieving strength, being aware of yourself and your own needs. And then that leads you to that place where you are self-actualized, which then allows you to be intrinsically motivated. The first 4, in big part, are extrinsically motivated, meaning other people are involved to motivate you, to say, I love you, Michelle, I love you. Here's a house to live in. So you need those things. But when you get to that point, you can find it from inside. But some of those, I'm a firm believer, and some of you raised your hands and you know what